We hit record. I hate that so much, dude. Because you lose the magic of the first story.
That was rehearsal.
Yeah, there you go. We're joined today with Carl. Used to work with me at Gamestop back in like the late aughts, early teens.
Yeah, so I was there, like I was saying earlier.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of that. I was
saying
earlier.
What did I say earlier? 2006 to 2015.
Yeah. Do you remember the year that we worked the midnight launch of... Not midnight launch. It was...
Talking about Nico?
No.
Nico Bellic story?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay. Carl had dressed up like Nico Bellic, Grand Theft Auto 4. Yeah. I'll probably have that pop up on screen. It was...
The thing that... The only reason I think I sold it well is, I took my glasses off. Yeah. Of course, I had more hair, but...
You had the perfect jacket.
That's what I was going to get at.
Yeah.
The jacket I had was I had it for years and thought it was a nerdy jacket. But then, Grand Theft Auto came out and Nico was like...
that nerdy jacket
dude,
right back.
That jacket is going to work.
God dang it.
And I think all he wore was like track pants and tennis shoes. So, yeah, I would stand at the door at the midnight launch like this.
Definitely like an 80s windbreaker look.
Yeah, it was jacket, like a members, almost like a members jacket. It wasn't a members jacket, but it almost looked like one.
That was the night. That the first time I had met Carl, because that would have been the first time that I would have ever met you. Because when I wasn't working at Greenwood, I definitely wasn't going by there too often.
Yeah, when I first met you, you were, I think, working at the movie theater.
That probably was the same time, yeah. He was dressed as Nico Bellic. We walk up. We had another friend that was working there, and we had said, "Oh, this guy don't look shit like Nico Bellic."
Well, yeah, because I remember someone told me, they go, man, because I had glasses off, and they were like, as long as you don't smile, you pull it off.
Well, you mean one of us had said that?
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Because I'll be honest with you,
I just remember somebody telling me that because I remember thinking, yeah, I do. Like, I'm working. I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah.
And I normally have a resting asshole face. So.
And so the other guy that was working with him, his name was Art, and he got so offended, and he did the "give him a fucking break," and that shit never ended, dude. That became like every time he would say something about someone else, or anybody did it. Yeah. That's what we would tell him. Be like, give him a fucking break, because it's just so. No one was being mean,
It's
Someone
so
was
random,
so dismissive.
Like, why is he suddenly defending me? Yeah.
He got so offended. I remember we were all looking at him like, we've known you for like 10 years, and we make fun of people all the time. And so now all of a sudden I say this, and you get butthurt. Like, what the fuck? I've known you for so long, dude. But he was white knighting for you, is what he was doing.
Well, so that kind of goes to my thing about my experience in total with GameStop is that I know a lot of people like to shit on it, and the thing I've always noticed that is if you're going to go to GameStop, get a job with GameStop, and you're just going to be a GA, it's fine for anyone who's like a college student or a high school student.
Enjoy it for what it is.
Right. Someone who's just looking for, like, I need to make cash over the summer.
And get discounts on games.
Right. And that was my view, because I already had a full-time job. I was like, you know what? If I make $60 a week here, that'll pay for the game I buy.
That week, yeah.
So I'm just cool with that.
But anyway, what I was saying about Andrew was such a great manager, such a great salesman is what I think made him a good manager. But we both came up under Herman, and that was the guy at the time that Andrew had hired me, Jerry and Tony. I guess we all worked at the same time. But he was a fantastic salesman. He gets shit done, stay busy. He was the one that taught us to always look busy. But he made us be busy, like we had to be doing something. He didn't like us to sit around doing nothing. Yeah. So he was always like, we'll go alphabetize this, or go clean that, or go do this. But it was going through that we learned that, and this is true, that you can finish your job at GameStop. If the walls are alphabetized, I don't know if you remember that about me, is I would always go sit, even as an SGA, I would go and alphabetize walls so that they would look super pretty. I loved that.
Like, I was going to say the same thing. Like, I'm so like everything to me, like I'm such a
stickler.
Like I don't know if it's like OCD, but I was like, everything had to look perfect.
Yeah.
Everything had to be alphabetized. Well,
and also because if somebody came looking for a game and you told them the walls are alphabetized, it will be in order.
And then GameStop would have those cheap black and white covers for the user. I'd be like, can't we just use like the marketing material to put these? So I would always do that. Like, yeah.
But there was a midnight launch that we did, and it was Guitar Hero, and it was like maybe Guitar Hero 3 or something. And Kevin was working, and Kevin was doing he was hosting for GameStop. Like, I wasn't working there at the time, and he had set up the thing, and he told me, hey, are you ready for this? And I was like, yeah, dude, I got this, because I had been playing, and I was like practicing or whatever. And I said, dude, I got this. It's not gonna be that hard. And then they set the game up or whatever, and God damn, I was not ready. The guy that sat there next to me was like through fire, and of course Kevin picks through fire and flames, right? And then I crashed and burned like instantly, and I was like, "There's something wrong with the guitar. I don't think the guitar's
it's not plugged in. Couldn't be the user."
Do you remember the year we were doing like a Call of Duty midnight launch? At the time that it was GTA 5 had like the biggest multimedia entertainment launch of all time, right? And so I don't remember if it was GTA 5 though. I think it was like one of the Call of Duties. There was like a piece of shit kid that had like a laser pointer, and he was in line probably with all of his buddies, and I was standing outside next to like the officer who was there to monitor the line. Now this line stretched through the parking lot and could have damn well wrapped into the street.
If we had the cops there, it was probably a Call of Duty game.
Yeah. And so someone was shining a freaking laser pointer in my eyes from like halfway through the line. And I was getting so mad. Because that officer was standing there right next to me. And he wasn't saying nothing, doing nothing. I was looking and watching where the light was coming from. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just staring at those kids. And I'm just like, y'all got to get up here. And y'all ain't going to be doing that shit when y'all get to the front. You know what I mean? Like, y'all are so far away. And I was so angry, but I mean, what could we do? The officer wasn't even doing anything, I don't know why that shit was tolerated. I wish he would have gone over there and shot him. We did have a lot of people who would troll. Do you remember when they would call and ask about Battletoads?
I never experienced that, but I've heard the story.
So I only ever had it happen once, but it felt like you had to be prepared. Like I was training my whole life for this. Yeah. So when they would call and tell me, "Oh, I'm looking for Battletoads,"
yeah,
and I'm like, "On the Super Nintendo, right?" And they're like, "Oh yeah." I go, "Yeah, man, I got one. Let me double check. Yep, I got one copy left. You can come pick it up." And he's like, Battletoads?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Battletoads, dude." He goes, "You got it for the Super Nintendo?" I said, "Oh, you said Super Nintendo? Hold on. And I'm just, obviously bullshitting.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, "Yeah, dude, Super Nintendo. I got one for the Super Nintendo, one for the Genesis." And he's like, "Seriously?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, what's your name? I'll put it to the side for you." Oh, and then they hang up. Yeah. And I would do that shit to him all the time.
You get a lot of people who think they're gonna, I'm gonna pull a fast one on you. And
I just remember this is my favorite story. This is the shortest story too. I remember.
Well, then I'll tell you my favorite story.
Okay, you go first, because I've been talking this whole
yours
time.
Is short. Mine's
okay.
So.
So my favorite story is whenever people would call and you'd have to answer, "Thank you for calling GameStop," where you can trade in your games and save, or whatever promotion is there at the time. This is Caleb, what's up. But I remember I would answer, "Thank you for calling GameStop, where you can trade and save. This is Archer, emissary of the Gorgonites." I love doing that, dude. I love doing that, and nobody ever said anything.
Yeah, because most people would be like, "Okay."
He's probably talking about some game, idiot. Yeah. Just tell me if y'all have Mad No 5.
Yeah. And so because I had a full-time job in retail as well, there was this customer that would come in, and I don't know if you ever dealt with him, but he looked like Peter Griffin, basically. Older dude, heavy set. He'd always come into GameStop with his daughter, And his daughter she was kind of a big girl, but she was nice and friendly and whatnot. But anyway, I'm trying to remember. I don't think this happened at Callan. I think this was at Green.
Okay, well, then that would have been...
No, it had to be Callan. Because, to my point, I dealt with this guy at my other job. And at the other job, I had to be nice to him. You know, because he wasn't doing anything there that was too obscene. He wasn't doing anything that... It wasn't like we were asking him to leave the store. He was obnoxious. People got annoyed with him, but it wasn't like, hey, I need you to leave.
Yeah.
And anyway, I either gotten clocked out or was there to pick up a game or pick up a check, and one of our coworkers that we were talking about earlier, the one with the tattoo.
Oh yeah, I got you.
She was working, and she sees the guy coming in. She's like, I gotta run the back real quick. Can you just run? I was off the clock, but she's like, can you just run interference with this dude? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. I don't remember who else. Somebody else was working the register, probably dealing with another customer. So this guy comes in, and he's all like, "Hey, where's so and so? Every time I come in here, it's like she's trying to avoid me." And
get the hint.
He's like, "She has a real pretty necklace." And I'm like, in the back of my mind, thinking, "Fucker, you ain't looking at her necklace. You're looking at something else." And anyway, he's like being real pervy and shit. And finally, I'm like, you know what? I'm off the clock. I'm not at my other job. It's my opportunity. Because he didn't recognize me. And finally, I don't remember exactly what I said. But I remember telling the dude, like, yeah, like, because you're, like, old enough to be her dad, and you're coming in all being pervy on her. And I think his daughter was with him.
Oh.
And I was like, you're perving on a girl that could very easily be, like, the same age as your daughter. And he was like, Well, that's not why I'm in here. Well, what you're saying doesn't match what you're saying.
There was a lot of...
So I was like, man, that's why I like this job, because I can talk shit to them. Because that was my whole... I remember straight up telling one...
of getting fired.
Yeah, that's what I straight up told one of the managers. I was like, well, on one hand, look, if I screw up, fire me. I'm not going to hold it against you, because this is a part-time job. I'm just doing this for extra cash. I've got a full-time job elsewhere. But yeah, that was the nice thing I liked about it, is any frustration that I had maybe from the other job, I could just take it out on the customer's ear.
And it was easy to do so.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I do remember in the Callan store, there was this kid who would always come in with a dad, and he was like the most, like, politest little 10-year-old ever. You know, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Just very polite. His dad didn't say much, but the kid would. And it was just, like, amazing how, like, yeah, this parent did a really good job, like, raising this kid.
How very old man of you to say that your favorite customer was a well-behaved kid.
Yeah. How creepy, yeah.
Not creepy, just how old man.
No, but what was funny about it, and the reason it stands out is...
When you never had that?
Well, no. This kid ended up having a brother that worked at my other job.
Corpus is small.
Who was a fucking spoiled brat. Like, we had to... I remember... Because I worked overnight, I closed the store. And the daytime manager had to pull this kid aside and, like, tell him, like, hey, you're not performing. This is the issues we have, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not in the office, but I can hear the manager talking to him. And I just hear the kid storm out and go, well, I'm going to tell my dad. My dad's going to have a word with you. And the manager, like, so the kid leaves, and the manager comes out and goes, I honestly don't know how to react to that. Like,
who's his dad?
He's threatening me with his dad.
Was his dad...
Anyway, the next day, the dad shows up, and he's apologizing for his son's behavior, and it's the dad of that kid. And I was like, well, your young kid is like, let me hire him because he's so well behaved. I don't know what you did with your older son.
That's probably why the other one was so well behaved.
Yeah, that's why it stood out to me. I was like, night and day.
We would go to Chili's, and we would talk to Cheyenne, Amanda, Kristen, I think her name was, or Kirsten. And there was a few other people, Tiffany, I think. But it was all girls, right? And so, like, you know, we weren't doing that on purpose. It was just, I knew Cheyenne separate from Chili's, and so there was a connection, and then everybody just kind of hung around and stuff. And we stayed so late. We'd get a couple beers and then go home. But funny side, Gamestop adjacent story is one time I had gone in there and one of those waitresses, she was like a new girl at the time because I don't even remember her name. She was talking to me and she was like, and I guess maybe there was familiarity enough for her to feel comfortable enough to ask me. She was like, I don't want to go home tonight. Can I stay with you? And I was like, what? I don't fucking know you.
That's random.
It's like, I live with my parents, dude. Like, you talking about you gonna come stay with me and my parents?
Mom and Dad, this is a...
Shit, no, dude. But then the funniest part is not any of that. The best part is, like, I don't know, like a handful of months later, I run into her and her mother at the mall, and that bitch was pregnant. And I was like, thank God. Oh, I dodged that bullet.
Yep.
I mean, she was really nice, but I don't remember her name. But I guess there was a lot of like stupid shit like that. I got screwed when I was working at GameStop for the PlayStation 3 because we had pre-orders.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember hearing that sort of shit would happen a lot.
Well, no, this was something that like now, when the PS5s came out, I was so pissed off. Because they let employees pre-order first. Yeah. And no, I shouldn't say I was pissed off. They should have done that from the beginning.
Right.
But when the PS3s came out, I guess the numbers were supremely allocated. Sony was probably trying to create a false sense of supply and demand. But, shortage or whatever. But, so I had mine pre-ordered. I was like the first or second person to pre-order my PS3. Yeah. And then we got word like a week before they came out, oh no, you're not going to get your PS3. And I was like, bullshit.
See, to me, it makes sense to have your employees be able to pre-order it first.
Yeah.
But I do get when you get like...
You don't want to piss off too many customers.
Well, if you're only going to get 5 systems total for that first launch, and you only have 5 employees, then I understand it doesn't make sense to let only the employees... Because I get from the
I mean,
the sales pitch,
it makes sense.
You want your employees to know about it in order to sell it.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes back to the, checking out the games. I get why they would let us take a game home for 3 days and play it, but after a while of doing that, I was like, that is so
it was rare
that we have to turn around and sell it as new.
You know what was more shitty?
What I feel like the company should have just did with every brand new release is just write it off, right?
Right, one copy.
Store copy, yeah.
Yeah, have a store copy and just convert it to used.
Right.
Eat the $15 and just call it a day.
Right.
But, so, what pissed me off... so I never really got mad about it.
Yeah, I say get mad about it, but
you definitely did it.
I mean, I was there for 9 years. I probably at least did it for half the time I was there.
But
I
you
do remember
never
thinking, this
abused
is shitty.
it. You never abused it. And by abuse it, I mean...
Yeah, what do you mean by abuse?
Okay, so you remember how long you could check a game out for like 3 days, right?
Right.
Something like that?
Yeah, the thing was... I think that's where I think I know where you're leading, because there were some people that would do that. You would check it out for 3 days.
Every 3 days.
Somebody else would check it out for 3 days, and then you go back behind them and recheck it for another 3 days.
Or someone would check it out for you.
Yeah.
And so, I'll do this. Okay, so what I'm getting to is... I don't give a shit if somebody checked out a game every single day. You know what I mean? As long as you followed the rules. But I feel like used games were different.
Yeah.
And it was always encouraged to check out a used game over a new game if both existed in inventory.
And I think I think from the company's point of view, that's probably what they wanted.
Yeah, that was probably
They probably
the spirit.
didn't bother enforcing it or checking up on it, because I think after a while managers are just like, whatever, check out a brand new copy.
But now, straight up today, whenever I ask for a new game, I ask, is it sealed?
Yeah.
And they're always like, oh, I don't have a sealed copy, and I'm like, well, then I don't want it. And they're like, well, it's the same
so I
thing.
think that's
and I'm
what
like, no, it's not.
So we're ragging on it about the checkout policy. A lot of times, the reason the game, for people who don't know, the reason the game is gutted is what we would call it.
Yeah.
Is because they wanted to put that actual case up on the shelf.
They need a display copy.
Which goes back to my point of like how Toys R Us did it. Really, I feel like you just need to have one empty case, or maybe a big poster with like little tags that you would, or something that you would take up to the counter. And I guess the argument is, well, that's what the empty case is. But a lot of times it'd be like, well, we don't distinguish between having the game and not having the game.
Sadly,
I remember that would happen a lot of times. Customers would be like, well, why do you have all these cases if you don't have any game? Well, those are empty cases. They're not the actual game.
That says for display only.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
A lot of times, you
People
don't
were
want
not
to. You want to be nice, but you'd be like, well, if you could read, sir.
Yeah. Oh my God. Dude, like, checking out games. I don't remember checking out games a lot. There was like a handful of times where I was broke until payday, and so like I would check something out. But, and this is the truth too, the version that I checked out, I would just buy. And so I would be like,
I think that's what happened after a while when I
Yeah.
started feeling like this is kind of shady and shitty. I'd be like, okay, I'm only gonna check it out if I seriously think I want to buy this game.
Or, I mean, I never felt bad about checking out used games.
Oh yeah, well
Like,
that's
I would take that shit any day.
Yeah.
Also, too, for people who complain a lot about like GameStop policies, you know what we need to cover? The value of pre-ordering. People feel like it's pointless or it's stupid, but they don't understand the value in pre-ordering.
So my stance on pre-ordering is it makes sense when it's like something like a collector's edition where there's a limited amount.
Okay.
And you be the first to pre-order it, you're gonna get it. At the same time, it was also a great way of, hey, I don't have $60 to drop all at once.
Yeah.
Let me pre-order it a month in advance.
So
and
$5, $10.
That to me is where pre-ordering works.
Yeah.
And I feel like if GameStop maybe leaned more that way.
But
because I feel like that's GameStop's biggest problem. We had this conversation where I feel like when GameStop was, back when it was EB, the people running the company, I think, had the ear to the ground in terms of what customers wanted.
Well,
and
no,
when GameStop took over, it was more about, we had the people running it had nothing in common with.
No,
the gamer.
dude, like EB Games pushed even harder because remember, when EB Games was still a thing, we pushed that magazine. Do you remember the GMR magazine? Because we had a GMR magazine and it was $5.
I only was there with GameStop. I was never there with EB. So
okay, so EB Games had a magazine. It was GMR Gamer magazine, right? And it was $5 to subscribe, right?
Yeah.
And that got you the discount card, $5, Carl.
Yeah, it's a better deal.
It's way better. But when you bought a used game for $44.99, that was a brand new $50 game. You used was $5 cheaper. It was $44.99.
Yeah.
With your discount that you just signed up for, you would literally save $4 off of the grand total, and you would only be paying 50 cents for that card and the magazine. So that was the EB Games days.
I guess that's my point. That's a better value for the customer.
Oh, well, it's even better now.
But I guess maybe on the back end it was sort of screw it. The company was losing money on it.
So
maybe.
where it was great was you sell cards to grandmas who are buying games for their grandkids.
Yeah.
And they're never going to use the card. They're never going to use the coupons. And that was where you made your money.
I feel like the Greenwood store was really good about people buying used games.
Yeah. Oh God.
I think when you got to like the
they
higher,
were like $1 million
the higher
store,
end, like
right?
Saratoga and Callan was like in between.
Yeah.
You had like 50 people that were coming.
And all the cities from stretched out, they would always meet in the
right. That's what I'm
area.
saying. Is like you'd have people who were like, "Oh, I'm rich. I can $60 is nothing." And versus on the other end, you had people who were like, "I just want a $5 game."
But even back in EB Games days, the whole point of it was the reason you pre-order is it lets that store know to order that game.
Right.
So that's a huge deal, though.
See, and I'm kind of going to push back on that because there's some games that are going to sell.
What about Red Dead? Remember Red Dead?
No.
You don't remember the shortage for Red Dead whenever it had come out and everyone was sleeping on it? And then it blew up and was
about
huge.
The first Red Dead or
Red Dead Redemption.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my point is when you take a game like a Call of Duty is gonna sell.
Yeah, you're gonna.
So to me, it's like, yeah, it makes sense. You want to pre-order to get all those like bonuses, exclusives. That makes sense. But if you're like, I don't need a pre-order if I just want the basic game. But to your point, when it comes to a smaller game, like maybe because Rockstar was a big name when Red Dead came out, but that was, even though it was a spin-off of Red Dead Revolver.
Yeah.
No one knew what it was going to be like. So I can see why it would sell out, because we wouldn't get a lot of copies. And that's, to your point, where it would make sense to pre-order, because
but
the more you pre-order on a smaller known title...
But it becomes kind of an ecosystem where you pre-order, like for me, that I used to play a lot of the weirder titles like Katamari Damacy, Alien Hominid, like all these random things like on PS2 era that they would only get like 1 or 2 copies in the store.
Well, that's where I agree with you on that.
Yeah,
like,
and
it makes sense to pre-order on something small like that.
But nowadays, you haven't been in GameStop in a while?
I'm trying to think
listen to this shit.
Well, the last time I've been in GameStop, I wasn't buying for myself. I was buying for somebody else.
Okay, but this is how they function right now with the card and the magazine. It's $20 to sign up for the magazine, and they upped it because now when you sign up for a discount card for the subscription, it's like $15, but that's for the digital only, and so you have to pay the extra $5 to get the physical magazine. I'm fine with that. I like the magazine. I like to read it. I like to flip through and read. I'm fine with that. But here's the thing that I don't know if a lot of people sleep on. If you buy 2 used PS5 games, that's already half the cost of that card in terms of savings.
Yeah, see that I do remember that there was a lot of promotional type of stuff like that.
There's always
the
deals and shit.
That a lot of people didn't take. Like,
and when you traded stuff
and to be fair, that was probably something that maybe I can't speak for you, but maybe even myself was not very good on selling.
Explaining to him. But here's the thing that Carl, if I was working at GameStop right now, I would be the king. Because do you know that with your discount card right now, I sound like a fucking shill for GameStop, but with your discount card right now, every month they give you a $5 coupon.
What's this, a check from GameStop?
Dude, I'm dead serious. $5 fucking dollars from GameStop every month that you can use on whatever you want. $5. If you did the math, it's $30. Yeah. That's more than the cost of the damn magazine.
I think that's the problem is...
That's insane.
It's not really...
Wait, no, that's $60.
It's not really GameStop.
My math is terrible.
Like, it is GameStop's fault in a way, but I don't really know how they can correct it. I think what you're saying is a step in the right direction, where they're doing things that, if you really think about it, is starting to benefit the customer more. I think if they would step back on trying to shove it down people... Like, that was the thing, is... I remember this happening with the DM one time, is a customer came in, straight up told me that, like, he only had a set amount that he could spend. I don't think he was buying it for himself. He was buying something for somebody else.
So how are you going to push a card on him?
Yeah. Exactly.
And
I've got I'm like, okay, there's some people that you just do what they ask.
Yeah.
And I remember the DM, like, being behind me and she being like, why didn't you try selling the magazine to him? Why didn't you blah, blah, blah,
because she was retarded
and I was like,
fuck.
Well, yeah. And
I hope she's listening.
I didn't care about. I like, you can straight up quit, fire me. I turned around and told her, because he straight up told me what he wanted.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to force something on him. Specifically when he tells me, hey, I only got like $20 to use, and what I want to buy is $20.
That was the problem. Is the upper management that were oblivious to how gamers reacted, how these.
They didn't have to deal with this. They didn't give a shit.
Yeah, but then they get bitched at from their higher ups who are like, y'all aren't making enough money.
I can remember there being a couple of female employees that had, like, their fan club would just hang out at the store.
Oh my god!
And that's my point. Like, dude, these guys are shipping over the females so bad. Like,
I had told right before I wasn't working there no more. I had told Joseph that I was begging him to hire that Madison from the Stripes.
Yeah.
I was begging him to hire. I was like, dude, I know that, because she was really cool every time we would go in there, and nobody that applied was awesome. Yeah. Everyone that was applying was garbage, and so I would always tell her to apply.
Yeah.
And she ended up getting hired right.
That's sort of the big misconception is a lot of people think, oh, I play video games, I'd be great. Yeah. It's like, no. They don't want people who play video games. Yeah. They want people who have, and I guess that was part of what I was good at because of my experience at my other job. Is it's retail. I know to a certain degree how to talk to customers, how to be respectful, and at the same time try to sell your product or whatever.
trying to think.
I always felt like the old man.
Being around all the kids?
Yeah. Well, just and how customers would, if they, like, oh, so-and-so sold this to me, and they're like, well, who sold it? I don't know, it was an older dude. Oh, it must have been it was Carl.
Yeah. I just liked making fun of, I liked making fun of the customers that would come in and they would be super familiar. You know what I mean? Like, they would act like they belonged and would just hang out all day long. And then when they left, it's like, God, I fucking hated
them.
Yeah,
there were some that were like that. They were, some of them were. There was a very small percentage
people were cool,
that you were like cool with. Most fell into that category of, don't you have anything else better to do? And then, unfortunately, there was a wider width of people that are just like, fucking leave, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of being an ass, but if I'm being honest, dude, when I look back. It's like I always tell everybody in my personal life, everybody has a role to play, and everybody is part of the story, right? So whether they were a chore to be around at the time, whether they're still a chore to be around, you have to find appreciation in the tale that's being told, Yeah. And so I feel like even the bad customers, like,
well, these stories wouldn't be interesting if you didn't have at least some bad experience.
Yeah, you gotta have negativity to look back and laugh.
Like, I don't look at any of these people negatively and think, oh, fuck them. But it was just, at the time, the experience, well, maybe some of the people I worked with, but I'm talking about customers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, like, wish anything negative upon them, but certainly at the time that you're working, you're like, just go home, dude.
Oh, shit, okay. Do you fucking remember? Because I'm pretty sure it was me and Aldo working. I had one of my lanyards or something on my hand, and I was spinning it around, and I was, you know how like you have it on one finger in between the other finger, and then you swing it, and then you swing it the other way, and then you swing it the other way. It had slipped off and hit a lady dead smack in her face, dude. And I'm sitting there like, oh, and I look over, and she's like legitimately flustered. And she was sitting there, and she was like, oh. When you could tell she was trying to be cool about it because she came in there all the time.
You to say something.
And then at the same time, she's extremely pissed off.
Yeah.
And I had just clocked her right in the face, full speed on a spin, And she's like, well, you probably shouldn't be doing that in the store. And I said, ma'am, I am so sorry. Oh, my God, I can't. I said, I was on this side. I don't understand how it went, because it really was like this weird angle, but man, she was so mad. And I thought when we had opened Nerds like down the road that I thought one of those kids that was coming in there was her kid, and so I was always like, I wonder if that lady remembers me. But I never like tried to track her down to ask her. But god damn it, dude, I got in trouble once for, you remember how we would tell them, go to this website, tellgamestop.com, you can do this survey. One lady did a survey and was complaining that I was paying more attention to a fly than her, and the lady in question, like, I remember she was a regular, which is like the best part of the story, this piece of shit, but there was a fly that I guess was attracted to my hair stuff and was flying all over my face and landing on my face, and I'm just sitting there like trying to get it away from me. And this lady got offended by that. And I was like, hey, you bitch. Like, she must have grown up in Africa on the savannah.
Yeah.
With flies just being the super norm. Oh, I'm going to make mention and then we'll call it quits. But I'm going to make mention and then we'll call it quits. But you interested in doing a Unmentionables reunion? Because I really want to get that.
As long as I can finally get the CD.
I'll let you watch. I'll get you a copy first. Carl was in a movie that we had made, me and my little group of friends. It's called Unmentionables. I'm gonna probably cut out the name because I don't want to tell people about it because I don't want them to steal it. It's a great name, I thought, for a superhero group. But anyway, Carl was part of it, and we just have never shown anybody. All these years, we got that film contest. We kind of did well. We won. and we never posted anywhere. We never showed anybody. Well, we showed a few people, but we never put it on YouTube. We never did anything with it. So I was thinking about putting together a panel and having everybody who was involved, and we could post the movie one week, and then like the next week, just have like an episode where everybody's just talking about it. You know what I mean? I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I just hope people like it. God damn
it.
Yeah. If you like what you heard, dislike, let us know in the comments. If y'all like these GameStop episodes, because I'm digging them, because it's kind of reliving old shit.
Yeah.
Hanging out, giving us an excuse. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Talking about